Louisville, Kentucky, 1964. The scent of rain hung in the air as Cassius Clay, not yet Muhammad Ali, shadowboxed in the empty gym. His movements were fluid, precise, like water flowing through a stream. Each punch cut through the silence with a whispered whoosh, each footstep barely audible against the worn wooden floor. At 22, his shoulders already carried the weight of expectation, of promise, of a future still unwritten. "Joe, you gonna stand there all day watching, or you gonna wrap those hands?" Angelo Dundee called from across the gym, his voice echoing against the walls. "If this story has made you feel something, however small, don't leave without giving back. Comment and tell me where you're watching this video from, and subscribe to the channel." Clay smiled, that familiar gleam in his eye, part mischief, part determination. "Just warming up, Angie. Just warming up." His voice carried the melody of the South, smooth and rhythmic. He moved toward the bench, sitting down as Dundee approached with the wraps. Outside, rain began to fall, pattering against the windows like applause from a distant crowd. "World's watching now, kid," Dundee said, methodically wrapping Clay's hands, those instruments of both destruction and artistry. "After Liston, they're all watching." Clay nodded, suddenly solemn. Just months ago, he'd shocked the world by defeating Sonny Liston, the seemingly invincible heavyweight champion. The victory had transformed him from a loudmouthed upstart to a force that demanded recognition. But with that recognition came scrutiny, and with scrutiny came judgment, especially when, just days after the fight, he'd announced his conversion to Islam and his new name, Muhammad Ali. "And let them watch," Ali replied, flexing his fingers as Dundee finished the wraps. "I ain't fighting for them anyway." The rain intensified outside, drumming against the roof like a heartbeat. Ali stood, rolling his shoulders back. In the corner of the gym, a radio played softly, news about Vietnam, about civil rights marches, about a world in turmoil. Ali paused, listening. His eyes narrowed slightly, his jaw tightened. The world beyond the ring was becoming increasingly complicated, and soon he would have to take his stand there too. "You hear what they're saying?" Dundee asked, nodding toward the radio. "About the draft." Ali didn't respond immediately. Instead, he moved back to the center of the gym, resumed his shadow boxing. But now there was something different in his movements, a heaviness, a purpose that transcended sport. Each punch seemed to carry a message, each dodge a defiance. "I hear everything, Angie," he finally said, not breaking his rhythm. "I hear everything." As 1967 approached, Ali found himself not just fighting opponents in the ring, but systems outside it. His refusal to be drafted for the Vietnam War had cost him his title, his boxing license, and nearly 4 years of his prime. The man who had once been celebrated was now vilified by many, his beliefs tested in ways few could imagine. "They can take my title," he told Howard Cosell during one of their many interviews. "They can take my money, but they can't take my dignity. They can't take my pride, and they can't make me kill people I got no quarrel with." Cosell, with his nasal voice and unflappable demeanor, simply nodded. "That's a heavy price to pay for principle, Muhammad." Ali leaned forward, his eyes intense. "No price is too heavy for what's right, Howard. No price at all." October 1970, Atlanta, Georgia. The city hummed with anticipation as Muhammad Ali prepared for his return to professional boxing after 3.5 years of forced exile. The Supreme Court had overturned his conviction for draft evasion, and now, at 28, he was back, older, perhaps wiser, but still unapologetically himself. The opponent was Jerry Quarry, a tough Irish-American fighter with quick hands and a sturdy chin. The venue was the Municipal Auditorium, packed with 15,000 fans, some there to cheer Ali, others to see him fall. Outside, protesters carried signs condemning him as a draft dodger, a traitor. Inside, supporters waved banners celebrating his return. In his dressing room, Ali sat quietly, an unusual stillness for a man known for his perpetual motion. His longtime friend and photographer Howard Bingham noticed the change. "You all right, champ?" Bingham asked, camera hanging around his neck. Ali looked up, a faint smile crossing his face. "Just thinking, Howard. 3.5 years. That's a long time to be away from who you are." Bingham nodded, understanding. For Ali, boxing wasn't just a profession. It was identity, purpose, voice. To be denied that for so long had been a unique form of punishment. "World changed while you were gone," Bingham said, adjusting his camera lens. "I changed too," Ali replied, standing as Dundee entered with the gloves. "But some things stay the same." As he walked toward the ring, the crowd's reaction was a wall of sound, boos mixing with cheers, hatred colliding with adoration. Ali's face remained impassive, his eyes fixed forward. This wasn't new to him. Controversy had been his companion for years. The fight itself was vintage Ali, not quite as quick as before, but still faster than almost anyone else. His jab snapped Quarry's head back repeatedly, his footwork still confounding. In the third round, a cut opened above Quarry's eye, bad enough that the referee stopped the fight. Afterward, in the press conference, a reporter asked if Ali felt vindicated. "Vindicated?" Ali repeated, raising an eyebrow. "I never needed vindication. The truth doesn't need vindication. It just needs to be spoken. I spoke it, I lived it, and I'm still standing." As the years passed, Ali fought his way back to the championship, reclaiming what had been taken from him. But the battles took their toll. Each fight demanded more, gave back less. His body, once so responsive to his commands, began to rebel in small, insidious ways. By 1974, when he faced George Foreman in Zaire, the famous Rumble in the Jungle, Ali was 32, considered past his prime, facing a younger, stronger champion who demolished opponents with frightening efficiency. "You really think you can beat Foreman?" a journalist asked him during training. Ali smiled, the same smile that had charmed and antagonized the world for a decade. "I don't think it, I know it. And after I beat George Foreman, I'm going to come back and whoop all you doubters too." The world watched in amazement as Ali absorbed Foreman's punches round after round, employing his rope-a-dope strategy, whispering taunts as the champion exhausted himself. "Is that all you got, George? Is that all you got?" And then, in the 8th round, the reversal, Ali springing forward, a combination sending the exhausted Foreman to the canvas, champion once more. The impossible made possible. The exile returned to his throne, Manila, Philippines, 1975. The heat was oppressive, a living thing that clung to the skin and sapped the strength. In his hotel room, Muhammad Ali sat by the window, looking out at the city below. At 33, he felt every fight in his bones, every punch in his joints. His body, once so light and responsive, now carried the accumulated damage of over 50 professional bouts. His third fight with Joe Frazier, already being called the Thriller in Manila, loomed just days away. Their rivalry had transcended sport, become personal, venomous. Ali had taunted Frazier mercilessly, calling him ignorant, a gorilla, and Uncle Tom, words designed to wound, to provoke. There was a knock at the door. Bundini Brown, his longtime assistant and spiritual advisor, entered without waiting for a response. "Champ, you gotta see what Frazier's saying now," he said, holding a newspaper. Ali waved it away. "Don't need to read it. Joe's mad. Joe's always mad at me." Bundini hesitated. "He says it's more than boxing now. Says he's fighting for all the people you've put down, all the fighters you've disrespected." Ali was quiet for a moment, his fingers drumming against the armrest. "Maybe he's right," he finally said. So softly Bandini almost missed it. "What's that, champ?" "Nothing." Ali stood, stretching. "Let's go run." The morning of the fight, Manila woke to rain, a hot, humid downpour that turned streets into rivers and did nothing to break the heat. In the arena, 14,000 fans packed the seats, with millions more watching on television around the world. As Ali made his entrance, the crowd roared, a sound like thunder rolling across the Philippines. He moved with his characteristic swagger, but those close to him noticed a tension in his shoulders, a tightness around his eyes. This wasn't just another fight. This was Frazier for the third and final time. From the first bell, it was brutal. Frazier charged forward relentlessly, his left hook, the same one that had floored Ali in their first meeting, finding its target again and again. Ali countered with combinations, his right hand snapping Frazier's head back, but he couldn't keep the smaller man off him. By the 10th round, both men were in hell. Ali's eyes were swollen, his ribs bruised from Frazier's relentless body attack. Frazier's face was a mask of damage, his eyes nearly shut from Ali's precise jabs. In the corner, between rounds, Dundee pleaded with Ali, "You gotta move, Muhammad. You gotta dance." Ali, breathing heavily, simply shook his head. "Can't dance, legs won't dance no more." The 11th round, the 12th, the 13th, each man summoning reserves of will that defied explanation. In the 14th, Ali unleashed a barrage that sent Frazier's mouthpiece flying into the crowd. Frazier, nearly blind, still came forward. As the bell rang for the 15th and final round, Ali rose from his stool, legs trembling with exhaustion. Across the ring, Frazier tried to stand, but his trainer, Eddie Futch, held him back. "Sit down, son," Futch said, his voice firm but gentle. "It's over. No one will forget what you did here today." Frazier protested, tried to push past. "I can see him, Eddie. I can see him." But Futch wouldn't yield. He signaled to the referee, "No more." Ali, seeing what was happening, stood still in the center of the ring. The arena, moments ago a cauldron of noise, fell oddly quiet. Without a word, without a gesture, Ali conveyed something that transcended their bitter rivalry. In that stillness, in that silence, was acknowledgement, respect, recognition of what they had endured together. Frazier, being led to his corner, looked back at Ali. Their eyes met across the canvas. And in that moment, something passed between them. Something profound enough that those close to the ring would later swear they saw tears in Frazier's eyes. What did Ali say in that silent moment? Nothing that could be heard. Everything that needed to be said. Later, in his dressing room, barely able to stand, Ali would tell the press, "It was like death. Closest thing to dying that I know of." And when asked about Frazier, the man he had taunted and belittled for years, Ali paused. "Joe Frazier," he said slowly, "is a real champion." New York City, 2001. The winter light filtered weakly through the windows of the hotel suite where Muhammad Ali, now 59, sat in a comfortable armchair. His hands trembled slightly, the Parkinson's disease that had been his companion for nearly 2 decades asserting its presence. Across from him sat Joe Frazier, also showing the wear of their shared profession, though in different ways. 26 years had passed since Manila, since that moment of silent recognition in the ring. 26 years of distance, of reflection, of life beyond boxing. The meeting had been arranged by a documentary filmmaker, hoping to capture some reconciliation between the two aging warriors. The cameras were set up, the lights positioned, but something unexpected was happening. Genuine conversation. "You know," Frazier said, leaning forward slightly, "I carried that fight with me every day, every single day." Ali nodded slowly. His voice, once so loud and clear, now emerged as a soft rumble. "Me too, Joe." "Me too. Thought I hated you for years," Fraser continued. "Told myself I did, anyway. But I think what I really hated was that I couldn't beat you that last time, that Eddie stopped it." Ali's eyes, still bright and alert despite his physical limitations, held Fraser's gaze. He didn't speak immediately. Instead, he reached out, his trembling hand extended across the space between them. Fraser looked at it for a long moment. Then slowly, he reached out his own hand. When they touched, it was gentle, so different from the violent connections they had shared in 3 brutal fights. "What happened in that ring in Manila?" Ali said softly. "No one else will ever understand. Just you and me, Joe. Just you and me." The filmmaker, watching from behind the camera, noticed something remarkable. Tears in Fraser's eyes, just as there had been in the ring 26 years earlier. The silence between the two men spoke volumes, about respect earned through suffering, about recognition that transcended words. Later that evening, after Fraser had left and the film crew had packed up their equipment, Ali's wife Lonnie found him sitting quietly, looking out at the New York skyline. "How did it go?" she asked, resting a hand on his shoulder. Ali was quiet for a moment, his eyes reflecting the city lights. "We didn't need all those words back then," he finally said. "All that talk, all that noise." He looked up at her. "Sometimes the loudest statement is silence." As the years passed, Ali's physical voice diminished further, but his presence, his impact, remained undiminished. He became, in his silence, perhaps even more powerful than he had been in his volubility. The man who had once proclaimed, "I am the greatest," now communicated greatness through dignity, through endurance, through the simple act of continuing to be present in a world that had both adored and reviled him. In 2016, when Ali passed away at the age of 74, Joe Fraser had already been gone for 5 years. But at Ali's funeral, Fraser's son Marvis stood among the mourners, representing the family, honoring the connection that had defined both men's lives. "My father and Muhammad," Marvis told a reporter, "they spoke a language no one else knew, sometimes with words, sometimes without them. But they understood each other." The legacy of that silent moment in Manila, when Muhammad Ali stood still in the center of the ring and communicated something profound enough to bring tears to his opponent's eyes, extends beyond boxing, beyond sport. It speaks to the complexity of human connection, to the respect that can exist even within conflict, to the understanding that can emerge from shared struggle. In the end, perhaps Ali's greatest statement wasn't any of his famous quotes or poems or proclamations. Perhaps it was that moment of stillness, of silence, when two warriors recognized in each other something essential, something true. If you've made it this far and felt every word, don't leave without subscribing. I tell these stories with my heart in my hand to reach people like you, who feel, who get emotional, who live. If this really touched you, give back. Comment, subscribe, come be part of this family with me until the next video.